Continuation with environment and sustainable development, we are going to do the difference between the economic development and sustainable development. What is the basic difference? Economic development means what? An increase in the national income, a continuous increase, or the per capita, the real per capita increases, income increases of the people of the country. But when you're talking about sustainable development, it means that it's not only it's for two people, which generation? Present, yes, of course, and the future generations to come. We must not overuse the resources so that and not just finish them or indiscriminately use them and spread so much of pollution. No, we don't have to do that. We have to see that the resources are used in very carefully so that they can be handed over to the future generations, and even they can make use of it or can get the benefits of God's endowments that He gave us. We should not waste them. So you know what, let's just, because in the last class that we were doing, we did what were the main features of sustainable development, and we talked about increase in per capita income and welfare over time, and we talked about rational use of resources, and we talked about environmental protection. And on these three main features itself, we can differentiate between what is known as economic development and sustainable development. So let's take the economic development. So it refers to long-term increase in real national income and per capita income. And what is sustainable development? Sustainable development it refers to increase in real per capita income and welfare of both the present as well as the future generations. So, and the second point would be talking about environmental protection. So it does not pay any attention to check pollution and to protect environment. This is for economic development. So here we are not really bothered about all this. But when you're talking about sustainable development, it pays due attention to check pollution and to protect environment. So that is the main thing. And then we also the second point that we talked about in the main features is the rational use of natural resources. So that means we should use the resources in such a way that not to reduce the availability for future generations. So that means present development should not be at the cost of future development. So the third point is, in its process of economic development, natural resources are exploited. But in sustainable development, in its process, natural resources are rationally utilized to give benefit to the future generations. So talking about that, we can also, you can make the points of distinction on the basis of approach. If we take the approach, economic development is the immediate and the short-term approach because it fulfills the need of the present generation only. Now talking about the approach, it's a long-term and everlasting approach because it fulfills the needs of the present and future generations. So another distinction can be made on the basis of, this was on the basis of approach. Second could be on the basis of emphasis. Economic development, it emphasizes on the output of the goods and services irrespective of environment. But in sustainable development, it emphasizes on the safeguarding of the environment and use of renewable resources. That is the basic idea. And what is the aim? We can distinguish between economic development and sustainable development on the basis of aim. So what is the aim? It aims to ensure high degree of living of the present generation. And when you're talking about the aim of sustainable development, it is to ensure that there will be a sustained rise in economic welfare over time through rise in real per capita income. So this is the basic distinction that we see between economic development. You can get a question as to what is the difference between economic development and sustainable development.